Hi, this is Jay with Pryor Coaching. I want to talk about willingness today. You know, one thing that I'm grateful for, that I've known about myself for a long time, and I hear from my coaches all the time, is I'm always very willing. And sometimes, even though my ego may not want to do what my coach asks me to do, I'm always a yes. I show up and say yes. And here's why. Because I've been doing this kind of work or had a mentor or a sponsor or somebody since I was 19 years old. And so I've done it enough that I know that when my coach tells me to do something or asks me to do something, I just do it. I just do it. And so I really want to encourage you this week to be willing to see something different. I want to share a little bit of a story with you. My daughter and I can go back and forth over and over again about cleaning her room. I am a neat freak. I'm kind of a tidy guy, and I really like everything in its place. And my daughter is just the opposite. She can have everything all over her floor, and she's totally fine with that. And so I was talking to my coach about my own angst about that and how, it just irritates the crud out of me. And my coach just said, why don't you shut the door? Just shut the door. And I said, don't you think I've tried that, right? At first, I'm going to argue for a second. Don't you think I've tried that? And then she's like, and I say, but every time I shut the door, she opens the door. She just leaves her door open. And my coach says to me, Jay, what does it mean that the door is open? Now, I know that it doesn't mean anything that the door is open. But boy, my ego, right? My ego is right there and wants to say, it means she disrespects me. It means she doesn't give a darn. It means this. It means that, right? That's my ego. That's my small. That's my argument right there. Now, fortunately, I'm a willing person and I'm highly coachable. So I'm not going to give my coach that because my coach doesn't have time. So my coach says, Jay, what does it mean that the door is open? And I say, it just means the door is open. Now, I say it kind of sheepishly because I'm dealing with my ego, right? And she says, excuse, what is it? What does it mean? And I say, it just means the door is open. That's all it means, is the door is open. Now, the more I'm willing to say that, the more I'm willing to say it only means that the door is open and believe my coach, the more that's the truth. So for a couple of weeks, I've just been practicing that all it means is the door is open. It doesn't mean anything except for the door is open. I can close the door. For you, it could mean that all it means is your spouse's shoes are on the floor. All it means is that your kid's door is open. All it means, it doesn't mean anything. And the more you're willing and willing and willing to say that and believe it and affirm it and know it, the less your ego can get a hold of you and give you all that story that it really means something else. And all that takes is a little willingness. And once you get willing to see it from a different perspective, then the magic happens. Because let me tell you something, for the last week, she's been shutting her door. And that's because I stopped giving a damn. The minute I've got it like this is what I talk about in the book when I say what you resist persists and what it means to be attached to something. If I am attached to her having her door open and frustrated and irritated and I've got all this energy and resistance going on, and I just talked about that in my last video, resistance, this is what I'm talking about. The door remains open, and I have to shut it over and over again. But over the last couple of weeks, just practicing, it just means the door is open, shut the door. Now all of a sudden, she's shutting her door on her own because I'm not making a big deal out of it, and I quit resisting. That's what happens. And it all starts with a willingness, right? A willingness to listen to my coach. A willingness to just see something else possible. That's all it takes. I want you to ponder that this week. Is there an area of your life where it might just take a willingness to see it a little differently, to hear it a little differently, and all of a sudden something else becomes possible? Consider it. And thanks for joining me.